back. It feels like no time has passed. It's been a whole 24 hours. And we're gonna finish this podcast with Casey Means and Jay Shetty. And he's wearing a suit that is probably really expensive-y. Hell yeah. Welcome. We're here. No fear. Taro's hungry and she's about to eat in 15 minutes. So thank you for joining me on this Friday night. TGIF, am I right? We could not get through, and by we, I could not take another second of this broad. Sorry, I know that's an offensive word, but it defines. It defines. So I have gotten some more background information too to preempt this second half, which to me, the second half of any podcast, especially when it's an hour and 53 minutes long, you're not going to get to the conspiracy theories until about this time. So this is when I imagine it's going to start getting juicy. You know, she started talking about spirituality a little bit more. So I just imagine she's going to, light her cigarette soon. You go, yeah, I never believed in vaccine. And she's going to, start spewing her true feelings about things. And that's what I love to see in podcast guests. If it's not 4 hours long, you're really not going to, be able to understand what their true beliefs are. So before we get back into the video, here are some more background clips to give you some more context. She was on Lewis Howes, who I haven't heard about him in quite a while, actually. And he had a pod. Lewis Howes is a former football player in college or something. And then his claim to fame is that he was sleeping on his sister's couch and then decided to get rich somehow and started a business of having a podcast about telling people how to be healthy or some shit. I don't know. Anyways, he hasn't been around in a while. I haven't seen him. I'm sure he's there, but he just hasn't been on my radar personally. He's got a kid now and I don't know. So he's busy. But she appeared on one of his shows and then a couple other ones. So anyways, here's some more background on Casey Means.
Very disturbed by the phrase all good things in moderation, because that's been sort of a American staple phrase for decades. We love saying that whenever we eat something, a treat, all good things in moderation. And now we are so sick. And so when we think about all the things we're choosing to experience in moderation in our world, it's a little bit of water from a plastic bottle, and it's a little bit of Oreos, and it's a little bit of that lotion that has a bunch of artificial fragrances in it, and a little bit of...
Speak for yourself. I eat an entire box of Oreos if I ever do get Oreos, which is often. You should try the cookie dough flavor. The cookie dough flavor is very good of Oreos. Second would be the birthday cake flavor. Mega Stuff is the best Oreos, in case you didn't know. But yeah, so joke's on you. I do eat the whole box. And also, I love Bath & Body Works lotion only and exclusively, and I use a lot of it all the time for years, and I won't stop. You can't take it from my dead, cold hands. Continue.
Deodorant that has aluminum in it, and a little bit of this Advil that I take 2 to 3 times a month, and a little bit of that anti-reflux medication. Oh, and I'm going to have a little bit of watching Netflix. It's too much. We're applying this principle of moderation, but then we're inundating ourselves with so many inputs that are ultimately toxic. So I think we need to realize that
she's just a narc. She's just a narc. That's all it is. She wasn't invited to a sleepover one time in her youth, and now she's taking it out on us, literally.
Moderation of a lot of toxic things is leading to bad outcomes.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rubin, and our current Surgeon General nominee, Casey Means, clearly does not have a basic understanding of toxicology, or she is clearly being misleading by making it seem like small exposures to everyday things like Advil or drinking from plastic water bottles is somehow very toxic to you. And she makes this leap of saying that all these different exposures put together is why we are having chronic diseases, which is not true. She is sidestepping what the reality of the problem is. We live in a society that is overburdened by various factors that are related to social determinants of health. Certain communities are faced with much greater challenges, especially because we don't have universal child care, paid family leave, universal health care. We also have food deserts. We have diets that are high in caloric intake that's highly processed. as well as the fact that people are still smoking, drinking alcohol, and are generally physically inactive. Multiple systemic.
Yeah, I love how none of that was brought up because her examples were very benign, like Oreos and lotion and Netflix, but there was no drinking because I'm sure she drinks. There was no vaping, smoking, doing drugs, whatever else that actually would be more harmful. She wants to target waspy middle-aged people, I guess, and influencers.
Problems, but blaming single ingredients, especially things that are considered generally safe, that's not helpful for people. It's just fear-mongering, creating anxiety, but it sounds appealing because it seems like a simple solution to a complicated problem. But
what's the simple solution? Don't do anything ever? What are we supposed to do? Meditate all day long and do a cold plunge and that's it? What does her lifestyle look like? It sounds boring as hell.
Unless we pressure our senators to vote no on her confirmation, it's just going to be more of the same with this administration, where they constantly demonize one little thing and overlook the overall scientific evidence and ignoring the actual systemic problems that if we make significant adjustments to, we could actually improve people's health in the long run.
I think my takeaway from this is she's probably going to get approved. She's probably it's not guaranteed, but she's probably going to, get in the position. You just got to ignore her and wait this out. I know that's a horrible thing to process, that's our only solution, but I don't know what the other one is. You just wait it out. Ignore the haters. As she says, ignorance is bliss. Just pretend they're not there and hope that they don't do anything crazy, but, monitor if they are. Anyways.
Child born in a hospital in the United States today, within hours of coming from source into this body.
Okay. Weird thing to say right off the bat. Coming from source. Was the baby not growing for 9 months? Wasn't the baby already here for a while, just growing slowly? No. The second that it's born, it's coming from source, according to this lady.
The first thing that happens to them is pharmaceutical intervention without really asking, there's barely informed consent about this. That child's eyes are smeared with erythromycin ointment and they're given a hepatitis B vaccine.
Yeah, that is Trump's nomination for the next Surgeon General. And I'm not trying to be petty, but she is 38, I'm 39, and she's a wellness influencer. Yeah, so she graduated med school in 2014, proceeds to go into ENT surgical residency, but then drops.
Yeah, so, and I didn't have that detail until today, but her residency program that she dropped out of early was an ear, nose, and throat surgery residency. So she's got a specialty that's very specific to surgical ear, nose, and throat. So the fact that she's talking about birth at all or mitochondrial cell and metabolism is not her specialty whatsoever. Not that anyone cares, but it's interesting that she picked that one specifically. So even the training she does have is not about what she's talking about.
And here she is on podcast spreading misinformation about medicine. Yeah, we don't smear erythromycin on newborns' eyes. We apply it because we don't want them to go blind. The risk of using erythromycin.
Hey, but if your child goes blind, they can still see through their third eye. I learned that from Kimberly Vanderbeek. And there's a training center in Ogden, Utah that they should make mainstream according to her. So I think they should let the children go blind. It's a cult that they don't let them.
On the eye is slim to none. The benefits are we can save babies from going blind if we miss a diagnosis of an STD during prenatal care. And let's be honest, we don't have universal health care in this country, so we will be missing a lot of those diagnoses. And the hepatitis B vaccine. This administration has already confirmed that they don't care about liver disease in this country. So.
Hell yeah. Okay, I love this lady. I think she's a nutritionist or some sort of doctor on the Katie Couric podcast. I got mixed feelings about Katie Couric. One day, maybe we can investigate her. But okay, here we go. Here's an explanation of of Casey Means' background, which I think through a lens of someone who knows what the hell's going on and does social media debunking a lot, I liked her take.
Tell us a little bit about Casey Means.
Casey is, she went to Stanford Medical School, obviously very good school. She graduated as a medical doctor, so she is a medical doctor because that's really an educational degree. She went to an internship, which was an ear, nose, and throat, surgical residency, which is a very intense residency, I would imagine. I've never gone to one. But essentially, I think it was 5 years. And she went almost all the way through it and then dropped out of residency. So she never completed her medical training. And very importantly, Katie, her medical training is in ear, nose, and throat surgery. That's what she's trained for. And so she kind of dropped out, never finished. So she could never be a board certified surgeon. She could never be a board certified doctor. She holds an inactive license. So she let her license expire back in 2019, I believe. So she is not licensed to practice medicine and hasn't been for many years. And instead, she's kind of become a wellness influencer of sorts and really like promoting, selling a lot of supplements. We heard today in the confirmation hearing that she's made hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting supplements in the last year or so. She is the co-owner of this wellness company called Levels, which sell continuous glucose monitors.
And again, if you were to say the same thing about a doctor and go, or somebody that's working in medicine and go, they made hundreds of thousands of dollars from treatment that they were giving patients. Oh my God, that's proof that they're evil. Okay, but Casey Means can sell supplements, make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm an angel from source. Okay.
And if you look at the website and you look at the Levels website and you read kind of the script on the website, they're really promoting those to healthy individuals to optimize your health. And so, we don't have strong evidence to suggest that people should be using continuous glucose monitors who are healthy individuals. But it's a good.
The biggest irony, again, also from yesterday, is she's on one hand saying you don't need any intervention, any doctor, and do your births at home. If you get sick, ignore it and then figure out how much more exercise you should be doing and eat healthier foods and look at the farmers market foods and make sure that's made with love and then you'll be fine. But at the same time, selling a product that makes you hyperfixate on every little change in your bloodstream. It's two very different and conflicting ideas that this lady's got going on.
To make a living because they're very expensive and I'm sure that she promotes them well, but that's what she's been doing. She's been a wellness entrepreneur and a wellness influencer for the last many years, rather than what we look to as a surgeon general, which is a medical doctor against the nation's doctor, and somebody who has medical training and public health training.
They're like, that's too much for us. We can't have qualifications all of a sudden. We can't have the Surgeon General be qualified. Let's just do a clean sweep of no qualifications. Okay, so let's go back just a little bit. We were on academic research. So we were just going through what her decisions would be, because this came out, let's see, what year? 1 year ago, 2024. June 2024 this came out. So this is way before she was considered for this role in the government, but she has had ideas as to what she would do if she was president, essentially, or what executive orders she would want to be done. So the first one was cutting, what was it? Well, one was cutting funding for any college that accepts money also from any research. What is it? You can't take money for research at a college if you also take money from a pharmaceutical company. And the other one was banning pharmaceutical ads during news broadcasts. Not the most controversial things in the world. Complicated, I think, way more than she's making it out to be, but not the most insane thoughts. But now he's going to go through a couple other ones, I think. And Taro's dinner time. Hey!
Certain? I was not.
Certain I was not, but one thing I am certain about, 7 o'clock, Taro's favorite time of night. Okay, here we go.
It cannot also be taking money from industry because then you end up having split interests.
Wow, yeah, I mean, it seems so obvious. Like it's almost so painful to even think that these basic measures that seem like easily drawn parallels can't be stopped.
Yeah.
And they haven't even got close.
Well, when you think about the realities of it and why these things haven't happened in almost every single state in the country, the elected representatives, a huge percentage of their constituency is employed by food, farming, or healthcare. So anything to rock that boat is not going to be politically advantageous. And this is why someone like RFK, I think, is really gaining a lot of momentum, the most popular independent candidate, I think, in the last 100 years, because he's actually just saying a lot of this stuff plainly. And I genuinely don't think it's ever going to work to try and get some of these things through Congress because there's just so much compromised interests. I think a lot of these things would have to be just straight executive orders from the president to say, we're going to make these changes because the direction America is going is not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be great for someone to do a real analysis on how you switch to build purposeful, profitable companies and what that looks like as an economy, because I think people...
Because someone like Jay Shetty, who's a businessman, right? He has to have an $8 million property, and he needs to wear Armani and drive a BMW and travel all over the world constantly and get hair plugs and, make sure his eyes are glistening at all times. So he's not going to want to run a business unless he is profiting immensely from it. So yeah, run the study, but he ain't going to participate, okay?
People get so scared. People who are motivated by money
Like
and power and control get so scared by what happens if you suddenly switch it, not realizing that there are so many purposeful, powerful ways of doing the same thing and in ways that actually help people.
How? Let me know, Jay. How? Tell me. How does it get done? Please enlighten us all.
You're the other one that I wanted to pick out, and there's 7 here. I'm only picking out a few. The last one I wanted to pick out was to eliminate added sugar from the National School Lunch Program.
Yes.
Which feels like it should be an easy one.
Yes.
But if Michelle Obama did that, they would freak out and say she's taking away our children's fun and light. And again, I don't really see that as a huge deal either. I think school lunch is if you're getting it from the school and it's paid for and whatever, like put whatever the government thinks should be healthiest for kids. I think probably having more money spent there is a good thing. But okay, let's see what she's got to say.
Because that doesn't really have any economic downside at all.
One of the most astonishing things that I think has happened in public policy in the last 10 years is that when the 2020 to 2025 USDA food guidelines came up for renewal, they happen every 5 years, the Scientific Advisory Board to the USDA made a strong recommendation to lower the percent of added sugar in the diet from a recommendation of 10% of calories coming from added sugar to 6% of calories coming from added sugar. This seems minor, but that's 10% of our calories to 6% of our calories is a big deal. Mm-hmm. The USDA rejected their Scientific Advisory Board's recommendation to lower, saying that there was not enough scientific evidence. And
yeah, because it's a cult, I thought. I thought scientific evidence was a cult and that we should never follow that.
This is not a cult.
Narcissistic, bully, cult leader.
But okay.
This has monumental implications. We are literally saying that 2-year-olds, these tiny little bodies, can get 10% of their...
Wait, who's going to school at 2 years old? Preschool doesn't start till you're 5.
Total calories from added sugar in the face of a world in which 50% of American adults have either prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, conditions directly related to sugar and our body's inability to process more sugar. And 30% of young adults now have prediabetes. And we're not only saying it's okay, we're recommending that 10% of our calories can come from added sugar. This is, truly, I think this is shameful. And I don't understand why every endocrinologist in the country isn't using literally every platform they possibly can.
Okay, wait. I just wanted to look up this statistic because I felt like 40% of all Americans have type 2 diabetes. That seems extremely high. So according to Google, it says over 40 million Americans have diabetes, representing roughly 12 to 14% of the population. And this includes approximately 29 million diagnosed cases and 11 million undiagnosed cases. Okay, so it's not even anywhere close to 40%. 40 million, but not 40%. So was that a mistake or what? And then 2 million people have type 1 diabetes, which does not have to do with what you're eating and what you're consuming sugar-wise. So there you go. And then how many, what did she say, obesity? How many Americans are obese? Let's see. It says approximately 40 to 42% of American adults are obese. So is that what she said? Okay, so she's half right. Half correct, according to Google.
And to say, this is crazy. We need to be saying in America, no added sugar. This does not mean fruit. This means refined, industrially processed sugar that's added to our food, which is close to 60% of the things on our shelf. And that is absolutely wreaking havoc on our biology. With that compassionate...
I'm torn on this too, because I don't disagree that it's a bad idea, but I think in school lunches is one thing, banning it from a grocery store is another thing. I don't really love capitalism or all the fake choice that we have, but again, it's a slippery slope. Are you saying you want to regulate everything? Like we're going to have MAHA restrictions, so you can't have a grocery store full of products. It's only what RFK and you approve of? That seems very authoritarian. Now, again, do I think it's fine to say, yeah, you should not have sugar and stuff? Yes, but should we be banning it? I don't know. That's not the America that I grew up in.
Framework towards our cells. If you think about what's happening with our mitochondria, sugar, which turns into blood glucose, it floats around in the body and the body has to do something with that. The body has to process it. And normally, if you have the right amount of glucose in the body, the cells would take it up out of the bloodstream, the mitochondria would convert it to cellular energy to power our lives. But because of all the factors in our environment that we've talked about that are ravaging the mitochondria, not only is the mitochondria broken by all those things, the sleep, the toxins, the sedentary behavior, but we are overwhelming the body with like 50 times more sugar than it's ever had to deal with in human history. And so imagine someone coming to you and saying, I need you to do...
Yeah, good point. Shouldn't we ban cigarettes? If we're talking about sugar, we should also talk about cigarettes, vapes, alcohol, all of it. Are we going to prohibition? Like, let's go. We can't just pick and choose. That's what I don't like about her. I mean, there's many things, but one of them is like she's picking and choosing certain behavior, certain things, and it's typically less impactful than some of the bigger things, but she's just not interested in those, I guess.
50 times more work today than you've ever had to do. And you're already going to be depleted because your structure.
That's a great perspective.
Yeah. And that's what's happening to each of our cells every single day with this added sugar.
He's contractually obligated to say that's a great perspective every 40 minutes. So that was his time. He got shocked by his watch to do it.
And so what does the body do with it? The body says, well, the mitochondria can't process it. So we're going to block the cell from taking that glucose up. We just need to block it. That literally is insulin resistance. The body's saying, we can't do it. We are so broken and you are overwhelming us. Please stop. That's insulin resistance. The body blocking glucose coming into the cell. So of course then blood sugar level rise, which is happening in 50% of American adults, 30% of teens, and so many more than that. But that's what we know. That's the ones that have been diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. And then with that extra sugar floating around that can't get into the cell, what does the body do with that? It has to do something. So it does the best it can. It converts it into fat. It 3D prints that glucose into triglycerides and fat. And now 74% of Americans are overweight or obese. So it all makes sense through this lens of...
Okay, now she's saying 74%? The true answer is 40%. 40% is pretty significant. Why did you stop there? Why is she saying 70% now? I mean, I don't know how you could remember this many statistics anyways. I'm impressed, but the fact that they're all fake, I'm no longer impressed.
We gotta just get back to the basics and stop literally having public policy that's essentially the root cause of how we're just totally overwhelming our bodies with these things that they cannot process. And they're saying it as loud as humanly possible. 74% obesity and overweight, 50% type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. Why in God's name are we recommending 10% of calories to come from added sugar? So that needs to be an executive order. Reduce it to ideally 0.
That's fine. I really don't have a problem with that, again, overall. If it's school lunches.
Or 6.
The thing is, I don't have a problem with it necessarily of banning it, but I just don't know where you draw the line. And again, if we're going to have some things there's tons of things that are bad for you, why does this one specifically get targeted? I think it's going to become a bigger problem that can never actually be, like the genie's out of the bottle. But I don't know. Maybe I'm defeatist in that way.
6%, like the scientific advisory board said, and absolutely do not serve it to children in federally funded school lunches.
Well said. Well said. I mean, I don't think there's anyone who could listen to this and not feel completely moved to want to shift in this direction. I mean, I so deeply appreciate not only the energy with which you communicate, but the poignancy of each and every one of the insights. For me, I'm listening just feeling like, I hope everyone who's listening and watching, and this is definitely, when you read Casey's book, you'll realize this isn't to make you scared. It isn't to make you fearful. It's to make you feel empowered and pushed in the direction of change, because everything we've been hearing for so long has been doing the opposite. I wanted to talk to you about this because a lot of people have said this to me, and I just invested in a company called Function Health. I don't know if you've come across them. And,
love them.
Oh, great.
I'm an investor.
Oh, perfect.
We're both investors.
Great, perfect.
Oh my God. Finally. I'm so glad they can make money off the backs of people and their health. Once again, what was it called? Function? Let's look it up. Ugh, they're just two peas in a pod, these two. I'm an investor. Let me go back.
I just invested in a company called Function Health.
Function Health. Let's see what bullshit this is. Looks exactly how I would imagine it to look. Okay, Function. And it's HSA, FSA eligible, probably because her brother did it for them. He figured it out. He cracked the code. Okay. What is it? It is every year. Okay, check your health. So it's another thing to make you afraid of everything that you do. Love it. Check your health. Every year, starting with 160 plus lab tests detecting 1,000 plus conditions. Wasn't she the one who said the more conditions we have, the more specialties we have, the sicker we get? That's what's causing us all to be ill, is that we're doing too much in the medicine field. We're doing too much research, but now we're going to invest in companies that give you literally overabundance of data. And thank you to some guy, 000001, some guy. Thank you so much. Some guy says, OMFG, they're both so insufferable, but differently. Jay Shetty's insufferable because he's just agreeable to everybody, and to be agreeable to everybody when you have a podcast, when everyone comes on and says different shit, it's like, okay, cool. He brings nothing to the table. That's how he brings blue-green eyes to the table. That's what I think. And she has a very specific point of view that she was given from source, and she wants to shove it down all of our throats.
I'm kind of a wild guy.
That wasn't a joke.
I don't regret anything. I am not someone who fails.
That's you, some guy. You will never fail in my eyes. Okay, so it says check your health every year. Okay, starting with 160 lab tests detecting 1,000 plus conditions, just $365 per year, $1 a day. Start testing. Okay. So then it gives you the lab test, then it explains your results, and then you follow your protocol. Monitor early indication of thousands of diseases. Oh, oh, look. We got them all. We got the fourfecta. I don't know who these two people are. But I know Andrew Huberman, he will throw his name onto anything that makes money. Jay Shetty, same thing. He's like, I have shoulder pain. He was recording a shoulder pain commercial that he's getting paid for in this, but decided. He says, I deeply believe in Function's mission. He doesn't know what the mission is, but he deeply believes in it because he can make money from it. Andrew Huberman says, I've been so impressed by Function. These are great quotes. Baya Vos, I don't know who this is. Function helps me understand my own biology. And then Mari Llewellyn, she looks familiar, says, helped me finally identify imbalances and optimize my hormones. Oh, everyone's our most favorite topic. Well, there you go. Gold standard for lab testing. Okay. So I don't know. Again, like, seems okay, I guess, if you have an extra $365 and you're not going to go crazy with the information. What does it test? Let's see. Ignored by most, tested by us. Okay, lead, lipase, which is an enzyme that helps detect inflammation in the pancreas. Anascreen helps identify patterns of autoimmunity. Okay, you can get all this information. Blah, blah, blah. Grail test. I've heard of that before. Hormones, prolactin, environmental toxins. Okay. So why do you have to have it? I guess you have to pay for it to have it all year so they can keep testing it? I don't know. And then how is it? Blood test? MRI and CT scans for early detection. Okay, so this is like the Nuvo, which is like $2,000, I think, to get a scan that all the celebrities, promote. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. There you go.
I don't know if you've come across them.
Love them.
Oh, great.
Oh, Bloom. Oh, Bloom founder. Okay, I've heard a lot about Bloom from Kiki Chanel. So, and I love her videos. I watch all of her videos. It was very enlightening. Okay, good thing for next time.
I'm an investor.
Oh, perfect.
We're both investors.
Great, perfect. So I just invested in a company called Function Health. I've known Dr. Mark Hyman for a few years.
Oh no, Mark Hyman's involved in this? He's also another one that's like not trustworthy and just will sell you anything. Okay, now it all makes sense.
Met the wonderful team, and I was very passionate about how they were allowing people to do, I believe, 200 biomarkers at $500 a year, which to me felt like a great investment. I think one of the things
as a rich millionaire, it was good for me.
Things I want to help people with is, what do you do with those 200 biomarkers, results, the blood test, the biosensors? Like, I think a lot of people, again, look at that list and you're like, well, where do I go from here? Like, where do I start? What do I do? What does HDL mean? What does, HOMA-IR mean? What does, uric acid? Like, what is all of this stuff? It's so out of our vocabulary. And like you said,
well, the answer is you don't need to worry about it at all. You just need to sleep more, exercise more, and eat what people cook you that's made from love.
99% of doctors, in the book you talk about this, 99% of doctors don't understand it or will say, don't worry about it. That's what I've been told as well many times before I was able to start getting tested by my holistic doctors. All I was hearing is, don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. It's not a big deal. You're young, you're healthy. And I'm like, I know I'm young and healthy, but I want to stay young and healthy. And I believe that requires a bit more effort than me saying I'm young and healthy. It doesn't matter. And I've learned about early stages for me of LDL, of my predisposition to diabetes because of my heritage. And, there's so many things that I'm so happy I know about today, which has reduced my intake of certain things that I love or I enjoy or I've been addicted to for years, whatever it may be. So how do people make sense of what to do with those 200 biomarkers?
The first thing I want to say is that the system, again, benefits off you thinking it's really complicated. It is not.
How does that even make sense, though? Because they've just spent this entire episode so far saying doctors are motivated by money. Pharmaceutical companies are motivated by money. That's all they care about. They don't care about you. They just want to make money. Okay. And now they're saying, I'm being dismissed at the doctor. They're telling me not to do these tests. Wouldn't the tests get them more money? So your whole logical explanation for what's wrong is not even consistent. So you're saying at the same time they're pushing these things to make you sick, and yet when you go to the doctor, they're like, don't worry about this. You're a healthy young person. Don't get 1,000 tests for $500. You don't need it. And they're like, how dare this doctor deny me what I deserve? It's like, get a narrative that is consistent at least.
That complicated. Everything I learned about how to interpret lab testing, I learned after medical school. I learned it doing my own research. And I think that every American adult is totally capable of understanding their basic biomarkers. And in fact, we must. And so what I would say is start simple and start free. Every year, if you go to the doctor, they're going to order a very basic set of tests that usually involves a cholesterol panel and a fasting glucose test. They're going to take your blood pressure as well. So
thank you, Mediocre Cauliflower. Once again, you are the best named person here out of everybody that's ever been on this channel. Mediocre Cauliflower, thank you so much. Wellness influencers are trying to take business from doctors because they see it as lucrative. Yeah, if she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars from supplements, she's upset that you're going to a doctor. She's upset that you didn't just watch her Instagram and click the link that she's got there. And Jay Shetty too. He's like, I'm pissed at doctors because I couldn't take the money that, their patients are giving them. I want that money. I need another property. I need another suit. I need to hang out with the Kardashians, and I need more than them so I can feel like a man.
Take my load.
Is there any more to say?
Back to the swallowing.
True.
Get your hearts ready.
That's what the doctor says when you go in for an appointment and they're going to take your blood pressure.
Priceless, juicy nuggets.
Okay. Thank you, Mediocre Cauliflower.
a lot of people might be asking, how do I figure out if I have good energy or bad energy? And it's very simple. You start with 5 essentially free biomarkers: fasting glucose, triglycerides, HDL cholesterol, waist circumference, and blood pressure. They generally come standard on a physical. And if you have a fasting glucose less than 100 milligrams per deciliter, an HDL cholesterol above 40 for men or 50 for women, triglycerides less than 150 milligrams per deciliter, a blood pressure less than 130/85, and a waist circumference less than 35 for women or 40 for men, and you're not on medication, you, by our standard criteria, fit the category of essentially having good energy. That is essentially saying you are metabolically healthy.
I don't get why the medicine part was added, but okay, I'll keep watching.
Shockingly, people who meet all 5 of those criteria not on medication currently comprise less than 6.8% of American adults. 93.2% of American adults, based on the most recent research, have at least one of those metabolic
The cult of research? Ugh, can't be trusted.
biomarkers off or not in the optimal range. So that's just step 1, is just know where you stand. And you can literally log into your electronic health record right now and get a tape measure for your waist and figure out those things. And I think a simple way, I'll just simply say kind of what those tests mean. So fasting glucose, like I mentioned, if that's rising in the blood, it's a symbol that deep inside your cells, the mitochondria are overwhelmed. The mitochondria are overwhelmed from all the lifestyle things we talked about that are under our control. And they are saying we cannot process any more of this into energy. Therefore, we are blocking it from coming into the cell. Therefore, it rises in the bloodstream. That's why fasting glucose matters. It is a sign that deep inside the belly of your cell, the cell is overwhelmed. And
The cells have bellies now? Inside the tummy of the cell, next to the mitochondrial
is blocking
booty. I don't know.
the entry, so it's rising in the blood. Triglycerides are totally related to that, because when that glucose is high and has nowhere to go and isn't being converted in that miraculous cosmic process to human energy, it converts to fat so it can be stored, because the body does not want the blood sugar to be super high. High blood sugar
The more she points, the more I believe her.
is a problem in lots of ways. It sticks to things and causes dysfunction. It causes inflammation. So the body converts it to fat and stores it within cells or in fat cells. So that's what triglyceride means. Triglycerides is basically saying there is, again, damage within the cell. The cell is overburdened and we are becoming...
I have to find it. I saw a TikTok today or an Instagram reel about how cancer is some random guy is just lonely. Cancer cells is a lonely cell and they're sad because they can't be... I'm not even joking. That they can't be friends with the other cells, and that's why they cause so much damage. It's what the fuck? We've lost the plot.
Metabolically dysfunctional, so we have to print fat to take care of this excess that we can't process. HDL is a helpful part of the cholesterol family, high-density lipoprotein cholesterol. It's a type of cholesterol lipoprotein, so a molecule that floats around in the blood that actually takes cholesterol from the arteries back to the liver to be processed and excreted. So it's a way of taking cholesterol from where it could be causing problems in the blood vessels and putting it back to the liver. And unfortunately, when the liver becomes dysfunctional because of the way we're living today and becomes filled with fat, do what I just spoke about with triglycerides, this process of creating the right amount of HDL gets dysfunctional and we start to see HDL decline, and that's a problem. So HDL is quote unquote good cholesterol, and when it's low, that's basically means that we can't pull the damaging cholesterol.
Okay, I had to show it. We have to take a moment. I don't even know what she's talking about, so it doesn't matter. This is a guy named Samuel Bleemed. Samuel B. Lee, who is a spiritual psychiatrist. He's got a spiritual psychiatrist podcast. Okay, what's his take on cancer cells?
Cancer isn't necessarily trying to kill you. It's trying to belong. Cancer is a cell that thinks it's alone, isolated, which leads to inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause of all dis-ease. So when the cell
Dis-ease, he's a Louise Hay fan.
gets the signal and it thinks it's alone, it panics and it begins to rapidly divide itself in order to survive. But love is the most powerful healing technology in the universe. But what is love? Co-resonant frequency harmony, connection. It's the glue that holds our cells together, our atoms together, our
Love is AI videos at the beach. AI is a protest made through, or love, I don't know.
family together, our universe together is held together by this universal force.
Yes.
And when the cells get the consistent message, I'm not alone, I'm connected.
Put this poor guy in this footage. Could they not have given him a better haircut? To stand on the side of a cliff to look at the power towers? What's going on? This is a horrible haircut. He must be helped.
It stops rapidly dividing. So yes, love is the answer. And we can literally send that message to the cells quite easily. Then the cells begin to connect, forming tissues, releasing oxytocin, and the tissues connect to form organs, and the organs connect, and the organs begin to smile because it can literally feel it's safe and interconnected, and it is loved. Health is your greatest wealth. So if you know someone who is going through cancer and you want to help them out, I've created a free healing cancer meditation.
Thank God. Cancer healing meditation. I love it. Now we're all going to be healed for free.
That utilizes the power of the most powerful healing technology in the universe. LOVE, love is all I need. And it sends a message consistently directly to the cancer.
He really searched white women, wellness, organs showing, organs on fire, glowing.
Cancer cells, that they are not alone and they can stop rapidly dividing. If this resonates with you, comment heal and we'll send you a
It's okay. It's okay. Don't have to divide. I love you. Okay, this is the insanity that I have to watch. Oh, look, it's me. Meta. This is what I'm forced to watch by my own choice on my Instagram every day. I thought you'd like that one. Okay. I think she would bring this guy on the board of trustees, if she had a choice. He'd be the next Surgeon General assistant.
From the blood vessels back to the liver.
Hey.
So simply put, that's a lot of what you need to know about metabolic biomarkers. There are so many more, but and then waist circumference, that one's kind of interesting because it's really a proxy metric, waist circumference, for how much fat is around your internal organs. This is a type of fat that we're hearing about more and more called visceral fat. There's 3 types of fat. Subcutaneous fat, which is the fat you can see.
There's 3 types of fat. Yo mama, yo daddy, and yo self. I'm out.
It's the fat that, we kind of try to get rid of because we don't look as good in a bathing suit. It's actually not the fat that's going to kill us. This fat, it's not going to kill us. Then there's visceral fat, which is the fat that is around our organs that makes the organs dysfunctional. And then there's intracellular fat, which is literally fat that's built up inside the cell that causes massive dysfunction. Visceral fat and intracellular fat are the two types of fat that are going to shorten your life. And those are both driven by insulin resistance, that process that we talked about that is fundamentally rooted in mitochondrial dysfunction. So the waist circumference is just a way of basically telling you how much fat is around my organs and therefore how insulin resistant might I be. And then the last one is the fifth one that I spoke about, which is blood pressure. And blood pressure, again, it roots right back to glucose and insulin and metabolism. As our insulin levels in the body.
I think she just is bullshitting. I don't know. None of this is helpful because it's all just hypothetical, and I think she's one of those people that just talks a lot and you just assume what she says is correct, but then if you actually looked it up, it's not correct at all.
Rise, and they rise, again, just let's make it really simple. The mitochondria is broken. It's not working properly. It can't process the glucose. It creates insulin resistance because insulin is the hormone that's secreted to help glucose get into the cell. But if there's an insulin block, essentially the insulin can't do that job and glucose rises in the blood. But the body's like, oh no, the glucose is rising. We need to actually secrete more insulin to drive glucose into the cell, which of course adds more burden to the mitochondria. So insulin levels rise. Well, when insulin levels rise as a compensatory mechanism for this mitochondrial dysfunction and the rising glucose levels, another impact it has is to block nitric oxide production. And nitric oxide is the chemical in the blood that dilates our blood vessels and keeps our blood pressure under control. So hopefully it's a little complex, but those 5 things.
He's like, yeah, I don't know what the hell you talking about, girl.
All link back to the exact same thing, which is mitochondrial dysfunction, which is caused by the lifestyle pillars we talked about. So just to summarize, those 5 simple tests that usually come on every annual physical are the best place to start. Understand where you stand on those compared to the ranges I mentioned, and that will give you a sense of where you are.
And the solution is eat healthier, exercise, and sleep more, and go outside more, which is what a doctor would tell you anyways.
And then it's really implementing the basic dietary and lifestyle strategies to give your body what it needs so we can free up the strain on the mitochondria and bring those things down. They will all start coming back in a normal range as you free up the mitochondria to do better work, which we do through our daily choices. Just quickly speaking to function health, that is like the next level. And that is,
totally.
If it's something that's accessible to you, I recommend every single person in the world do this if they can, because it's over 100 biomarkers, like you said, for less than $500, less than the copay that you would pay at the doctor's office for like 10 labs. And what that will do is actually give you a hyper granular picture of what's going on inside your body and your metabolism. And I mentioned that there are 3 hallmarks of bad energy. There's chronic inflammation, there's oxidative stress, and there's mitochondrial dysfunction. And the beauty of the function health tests is that they actually have tests that will tell you about each of those. So you can really know what's going on, and beautiful functional medicine interpretations that actually help you understand what they mean. But I think something that's, again, hopefully empowering and not too scary is that at the best hospitals and medical schools in America, like Stanford, where I went to medical school, doctors are not learning how to interpret lab tests in a way that will help you be empowered to live a healthier life. We are only learning a very algorithmic way of looking at lab markers in isolation in order to prescribe medications. If LDL is high, prescribe a statin. If glucose is high, prescribe metformin, and so on and so.
But doesn't that make sense? And they say also eat healthy and get some more exercise, because that's the solution that you're saying it is anyways. So they're fixing the problem temporarily and then saying lifestyle changes. I don't know what else they're supposed to do.
So forth. And what's really interesting is that for the biomarkers that we do not have a good drug for, we ignore them. Like triglycerides. You rarely hear about triglycerides, even though they're more associated with heart disease than LDL. We only hear about LDL because we have a medication for it. If uric acid is high, here's allopurinol. So we focus on the biomarkers that have a drug for them. And what they don't learn is how to look at the labs in concert with each other to read the tea leaves of what the labs are saying together to tell you about your core physiology. So what I just shared with you about fasting glucose, triglycerides, HDL, blood pressure, and waist circumference is frankly more than what we even learn in medical school of how they all relate back to metabolic dysfunction. And so
she learned on Google in her free time. So just her. She knows what she's talking about. She didn't learn it in medical school. She just learned on the streets.
I think it's just really important for everyone to find the resources like the book that explains it in clear detail. And you can sit down with the book and your lab tests and understand for yourself where you stand.
And you can look in the mirror and go, I've lost my way, and slap yourself in the face.
Absolutely. And trust me, it's like for anyone who's listening and feeling like it's challenging, I've been learning all about this myself for the past couple of years. And while I could never explain it as well as Casey does, or even begin to try and understand it as deeply as you do, I've noticed how some of these very simple lifestyle changes have shown me big changes in how I feel. And I wanted to focus on some of those with you that you break down. One of the big ones that I've struggled with for a very long time, because I remember feeling like I had to do this quick and fast forever. You talk about eating slowly, which I think sounds like the easiest, simplest, but underestimated habit. So could you walk us through that?
It's incredible. This is also my biggest challenge as well.
It's so hard.
Especially as a surgeon, like I just would wolf food down, and research strongly shows.
We can't trust it. Research is a cult.
I don't know anything more cultish than that.
Why does this sound cult every second?
But it's something that she believes in, so now it's worth saying the research shows, because I believe in it. So it's definitely not fake. But if it was something I don't believe in, then we cannot account for it.
That the people who eat the slowest have a 4 times less likelihood of developing metabolic syndrome than people who eat the fastest. So literally, this has nothing to do.
I've never eaten a day in my life, every meal, essentially, just wolf. I actually have like eggs on my shirt right now because I was eating so fast that it squirted everywhere. So I feel like I'm doing pretty good. So I don't know. That's just me.
With what you're eating, it's how you're eating. So this should be very empowering for people, because it's like, even if you don't want to change the actual food, change the speed at which you're eating. And that does change everything. The average American family is eating fewer than 3 meals per week at a table with the family. Like this has become so...
Is this a self-report? How do you know that?
Normal now that we don't eat with other people. We eat in our cars. We eat while we're walking. We eat on the go. And I think just the key message here is that the more you can invest in sitting down at a table and eating slowly and mindfully, it's literally going to have a profound impact on your core metabolic health.
Another simple one I think we underestimate is walking. When I saw these studies that you sent through in the research, I was...
Whoa. No one's ever talked about the benefits of walking before, ever. Pedometers, that's how you call it, right? Pedometers, they don't exist. That was what's it called? Oh my God, my brain hurts. It's been a long week. It's been a rough week. Not even rough. It's been not the best week ever. What's it called when, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Okay, play.
Mind blown, that simple act of walking.
I'm literally losing brain cells. My mitochondria is losing brain cells from listening to these people drone on about nothing.
Walking could make such a difference.
Yeah. There's been research in some of the best journals in the world, like the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, one of the top 5 journals in the world, that shows that simply walking 7,000 or more steps per day can literally slash our risk of premature mortality, depression, cancer, diabetes, obesity, and heart disease. And the studies, they vary a little bit. Some say above 7,000 steps, some say between 8 and 12,000 steps. But the point is that is really key is that steps, it's not just about the steps. Steps are a proxy metric for how much we are moving our body throughout the day. And there's been all these headlines like sitting is the new smoking. But I think it's really important to understand why. Our biology, our cellular biology is actually totally different if we are in motion more time throughout the day, even if it's something super low grade.
You want to see my steps from yesterday? Wait, can you see it? Hold on. 29 steps. Now compare that to my screen time. You're going to understand why I have problems. Have you ever seen screen time steps that low before? Record breaking.
Like walking compared to if we sit all day and then just work out for an hour.
My lack of steps has made me Oompa Loompa. It has made me Violet Beauregard. God, what happened to me? Okay, just ignore this.
Or 2 hours at night. The reason for this comes right back to the inside of the cell. So in order to take blood sugar out of the bloodstream and use it, have the mitochondria turn it to energy, you actually have to move these channels, these glucose channels from the inside of the cell to the cell membrane.
I will say, I just got a blood test. And, oh my God. I swear this is not my actual face color. That is right there. Stay like that. I just got a blood test. I'm like 100% healthy, and like other than being technically overweight according to BMI, my blood panel whatever is 100% perfect, like off the charts, and that's my step count. I do have a treadmill that I have not used since I moved, but you know, it is in my house, so that's good.
And one of the stimuluses for that moving of the glucose channel from inside the cell to the membrane is insulin. But another signal for that is movement. It's muscle contraction. So as we contract our muscles, we are basically constantly pushing these glucose channels to the cell membrane to take up the glucose and process it through the mitochondria. We're stimulating the mitochondria to do work, which they love to do. They want to have a push to do work, and they want to then get the glucose in to process it. So a body that's getting up every 20, 30 minutes and walking for just a minute or two, or doing a couple air squats, or doing a couple kettlebell swings, or doing a push-up or two, is constitutively keeping the glucose channels at the membrane and keeping the mitochondria active, versus a person who sits all day at their desk job and then works out for an hour at the end of the day. Sure, they're going to get that benefit of pushing those glucose channels to the membrane, of stimulating the mitochondria, but the whole rest of the day, they weren't. That's fundamentally a different biologic reality in both those bodies. So this is a yes and. Yes, do your workout, do your Peloton and your HIIT workout or whatever it is. But I would say more importantly is to realize that the human body is biologically programmed to move in a low-grade way pretty much all throughout the day. And if we can give the stimulus of low-grade muscle contraction to the body, it will keep our mitochondria and our glucose control so.
How many times do you think she said mitochondria so far? At least 400. At least.
Much better. And then, of course, that feeds into these profound statistics that I just mentioned, which is that just a simple amount of steps, 7,000 steps, that's like around 3 miles a day, 3.5 miles, can literally cut our dementia, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and premature death risk in half.
Yeah, no, it was one of the biggest things when I was wearing my...
They're going to start making us have to power the grid with treadmills, which I'm fine with. Again, is this life change? Like, what doctors, I think, would all agree. 100% of doctors would say, yeah, walking is good for you. You should walk more if you can. I don't think that she's shoving it to the healthcare system. I don't think that anyone would disagree with her.
A glucose monitor, I found that walking after a meal was the best one for lowering my the spike. And I found that every time I walked after eating, there would be no spike. Like, it was as simple as that. And it wasn't
I used to, when I lived in Canada, when I was a child, I I lived there for 2 years. Like my mom and I would go for a walk after we ate, and I would bring an ice cream cone with vanilla ice cream on it, and then a little Tupperware, like the little dressing Tupperware with sprinkles in it, and I would dip it and then walk and eat it. And that was a very beautiful childhood memory of mine.
Long walk.
I don't think that it did the, I think my glucose was spiking, but memories were happy.
Wasn't 3 miles after. It was just, as you said, a couple of minutes just to walk around, just to get that mitochondria moving. So I've definitely...
Get that mitochondria moving? Give me a break. This is the buzzword of the year in the wellness space. Next year, we'll never hear about mitochondria ever again.
Seen it as well, and it was so empowering. And just to give people a double dose of this, stats from Casey's book: 50% lower dementia risk, 50 to 70% lower risk of premature death, 44% lower risk of getting type 2 diabetes, 31% or more lower risk of obesity. These are high numbers, like, of reduction.
Imagine if this was a pill.
Yeah.
It would be front page news everywhere.
When I used to walk 10,000 steps when I lived in Florida, that was like my daily routine. It would take me 90 minutes, which seems like not that long, but 90 minutes of continuous walking. I don't know that many people that have 90 minutes and then go to the gym afterwards, because that's just walking. If you're just walking 10,000 steps and then you have to go to the gym and work out too and do, weight training, whatever, that's going to take, 3 hours a day dedicated to that. I mean, maybe, but maybe I could get off work early, perhaps. They could give me some time to have a life also.
New drug lowers Alzheimer's risk by
Walking.
50%, but it's walking. And it makes us feel so good too when we move our bodies. Everyone feels better when they've walked more. So it's not just the walking, it's expressing our instinctual nature as animals and as humans, as the only bipedal animal. It's expressing that, it's honoring that miracle of our ability to move by doing it. And we
Okay, now you've lost me. Now you lost me.
need to.
Absolutely. One of the other ones that stood out to me that I loved was reduce social jet lag. I love this one.
Yeah, I had not heard of this concept of social jet lag until I wrote the book, but it's fascinating. So social jet
I had never heard of this concept that I put in my book. Okay.
lag gets at sleep consistency, which is one of the 3 very important aspects of sleep that we often forget. So there's sleep quality, there's sleep quantity, and there's sleep consistency. Quality is basically how deep are we sleeping.
It's too much. It's too much. Too many things. It's going to make everyone stressed and die prematurely from having these many things going on in your brain to make sure all my levels are correct, and did I walk enough, and did I sleep enough, and did the quality though, it's like drive everyone nuts.
Are we having awakenings during the night from something like light or noise in the room or sleep apnea? Sleep quantity is self-evident. It's, are we getting enough sleep? And what seems to be the optimal amount for metabolic health is between 7 and 8 hours per night. But the third is sleep consistency. So this is, are we going to bed and getting up at consistent times day to day? This is another one like slow eating that I have really struggled with in the past. And social jet lag is a measure of consistency. So what we do is we look at the days of the week, and you can split it between like maybe days that you're working and days that you have more leisure time. And you look at the start time and the end time of your sleep, and you compare the midpoint of sleep between those 2 different phases. So let's say during the work week, my sleep is between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. because I have to get up for work at 6 a.m. The midpoint of my sleep would be 2 a.m. And then on the weekends, I stay up a little later and I sleep from, let's say, 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. The midpoint of my sleep is 4 a.m. So the difference in those midpoints,
This chick is wild. She gets crazy on the weekends.
2 a.m. and 4 a.m. is 2 hours. And research has shown that social jet lag of 2 hours or more between different nights of the week confers a doubling of the risk of metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, than if that is a shorter window. So if we're actually,
Wow.
it's huge.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
huge. So that's sleep consistency. And what it gets to,
But again, are you just not fun? Do you not, you never want to go out and have a fun night and socialize with your friends and stay up late and giggle? Do you hate giggling? Apparently so. because this is crazy. Now I got to feel guilty about, well, on the weekday I went to bed at 10 and then on the weekend I went to bed at 2. So now I'm going to double my risk of being a boring ass bitch.
Sorry. I think is a really important point about our biology, which is that we are on a 24-hour cycle as humans, and our circadian rhythms really dictate so much of our biology. And our bodies are naturally on a 24-hour clock. We have clock genes, but there are a few ways through our behavior that we can entrain the natural clock of the body, which then feeds into the proper expression of so many of our genes and hormones and cell signaling pathways. And there's 3 main ways that we can essentially tell the body what time it is. The first is sleep consistency. Are we going to bed and getting up at essentially the same time every day? That creates a rhythm for the body that it can just like ease into, that entrains essentially the clock for the body. So that's why sleep consistency is so important. The second is meal timing. When are we eating each day? We eat at super erratic times during the day. The average American actually has over 11 eating events per day over the course of 15 hours. That's a lot of eating.
Not eating events. Not the 11 eating events. Oh no. She's sucked the life out of everything. You're not just having a meal, not grabbing some food, you're having an eating event. Ugh.
Events. So the body that's expecting maybe more regular times and definitely eating before dark is now getting food all the time, totally confuses our clock. The third is when we view light.
So what are people in Alaska supposed to do? Starve to death?
So this is probably one of the most important ones, which is if we, our body doesn't know if it's dark or light outside, if it's day or night. Our cells don't have eyeballs. And so we have to tell the body what time it is by exposing it to literal photons.
So she's probably anti-sunglasses, I would assume. Anti-sunglasses, anti-sunscreen, I'm going to guess.
The photons go through our eye, go through the vitreous fluid in the eye. They hit our retinal cells that transmit an electrical action potential to our suprachiasmatic nucleus, which then translates into essentially telling our body it's morning. That's how it happens. And so it is really our responsibility to show our retina cells direct photon energy. Doesn't mean staring straight at the sun. It means just being outdoors without a window or sunglasses and just being out.
Told ya. What did I say? She's anti-sunglasses. I could spot it from a mile away.
Outdoors. And that is a signal that entrains our 24-hour clock saying, hey, it's morning. So just to summarize here.
Again, like in this, but this only makes sense if you live in New York City, I feel like, or the East Coast or the West Coast of the United States. As soon as you go to Ireland during the summer and it's light for 20 hours a day, now it's like, well, you have to artificially cover your eyes. And then, so those people just aren't real people or they aren't optimally healthy. It's just, this only works in the America world. And she's just applying it to select all, apply.
Circadian rhythm is absolutely critical for our metabolic health because so many of our metabolic genes, signaling pathways, and hormones are on a 24-hour rhythm. And the way that we can essentially create less confusion for the body is by regular signals of what time it is, which we do by sun exposure in the morning and avoiding artificial blue light after the sun goes down, regular meal times each day, and sleep consistency, meaning going to bed at night.
Fine, all fine, but boring as hell. And okay, sure.
The same.
It's not revolutionary at all.
Time and getting up in the morning at the same time, which we can measure through the metric of social jet lag. And we really want to keep that social jet lag metric less than 2 hours.
That's my 2 hours. Mine is 2 hours. I'm like already going, oh gosh, how do I solve that on the weekend? But Casey, I mean, you've given so many great practical insights today. I think you've woken us up to the idea of the challenge.
Walk, exercise, eat healthier, and then believe in a lot of bullshit. Don't take any medicine. That's her advice. Okay, great.
Challenges that exist in our society as well. And what I love where you take this book is this idea of how this isn't just a physical journey. It's not just a mental journey. It's actually a spiritual journey of rising to fearlessness. And I love that you do that because to me, I think often what gets us started when it comes to our health is fear, but it doesn't keep us going, right? We may have the fear of, oh, I need to be healthy because I've got kids now. I have the fear of, oh, I'm putting on weight. I don't want to put on weight. I have the fear of, oh no, I just got diagnosed with this thing and I really don't, right? So it's always fear that kind of gets us started. But you're actually saying fear is not healthy for us, even on a cellular level. And you're actually encouraging us to rise to fearlessness.
Yes.
How do we build that when
The best way to stay fearless is to diligently track every aspect of your life and never go out of the routine, and make sure that every morsel of food and every second of your day is optimized so that you don't increase your risk of doubling your dementia risks. And if you take a medicine, an Advil, in 1949, you better make sure that that won't cause you an issue in 2007. So simple.
Some of us think we're manifesting a unhealthy life for ourselves, or we almost feel conditioned to believe that it's all going to end badly, or we've had someone we've lost in our life early on and we now believe that will happen to us. Or maybe actually you're listening to this and you've been healthy so far and all of a sudden you go, well, maybe I'm not healthy. And it's so easy to get
That's their target audience. People who feel healthy, but that they want to convince that you may not be. So you need to spend hundreds of dollars on my product to make sure that you are at all times. And it could always change. So keep testing every day.
Because of how a lot of this information is also presented, is that we start to feel like we're just being scared. How do we rise into fearlessness?
I'm a big believer that
She's also a big body baby.
the best health arises when our cells are living in an ecosystem that feels safe and believes in abundance and is fundamentally rooted in joy and
Shut up. This is another great screenshot. I don't want to help anyone get to that place, because what this means is feeling like you live in abundance is saying you're rich, or maybe not rich, but having resources and income. And what types of people have that? Rich people. Okay. So basically, again, the war is coming to the streets. The poors and the mids fight it out to become the servants of the ultra rich, and that's all they think deserve to live. Again, AI is now going to take care of most of the things. They don't need that many people. They don't want dregs of society. So they're saying the only way you can be healthy is if you have resources, dispensable income, and you're able to spend all day long thinking about yourself like I do. This is what that's translating to. Okay. And it's very close to her heart because she has her hand on her chest. Okay, here we go.
Information is also presented is that we start to feel like we're just being scared. How do we rise into fearlessness?
I'm a big believer that the best health arises when our cells are living in an ecosystem that feels safe and believes in abundance and is fundamentally rooted in joy and awe. Because our cells hear every single thing that we're thinking through our hormones and through our neurotransmitters. They know if there's a threat, and they know if there's something to be afraid of. So I think it's one of our greatest jobs as humans to create an environment, just like we would for a baby, of a sense of safety.
No, they never did talk about alcohol or cigarette smoking or vaping or anything that's way more detrimental than watching Netflix for 5 minutes a night.
And I think a lot of people might say, oh my gosh, that sounds impossible. The world is crazy right now. But this might, sound dark.
But it's not if you're rich. You can just pay to stay away from it. So become rich, idiots.
But I actually think, again, it's like a very hopeful message. Like, the reality is that we are all going to die. That is unavoidable. That is the only thing we can be certain of. And so living in constant fear just doesn't really make sense. Like, living with curiosity and awe and appreciation and actually really diving down that spiritual journey of exploring what this life and this whole death thing really means. Like, to me, that leads us to this sense of starting to really realize that, like,
Yeah, demonizing Advil definitely won't make people fearful, for sure. And every other medicine that they're on.
Fundamentally,
or may take one day.
We are part of this eternal, infinite, limitless cosmos. We are not separate from it. We are totally connected. And that's like super awe-inspiring. And
we are Kate Gosselin. No, we are Kate plus 8. We have 8 children.
If our health journey can be rooted in that, rooted in the sheer miraculousness of us being alive at this moment, of us having consciousness, of the statistical near impossibility of being here, and wanting to honor that. And I think that's where all really good choices come from. In many spiritual frameworks, we talk about attachment as the root of suffering. Being attached to things being a certain way is the root of suffering. And it's interesting as this plays into sort of our American culture.
I heard life is suffering. I heard that was the overall vibe of Buddhism.
Culture. Like we think about what is one form of attachment is cravings. Like cravings are a form of attachment. We want something. We have this insatiable desire for something specific and we want to eat it. But what so many spiritual traditions throughout history have told us is that, nothing in the material world can actually reduce our suffering except connecting essentially with source, with God. And so
with source energy. Got it.
So, and that's my framework. That's what I do believe that. And so some might say,
we know, we've gathered that.
Well, if that's the perspective, that just connecting with God and connecting with source and spirit, whatever you want to call it, and channeling sort of the divine within us that we are a part of and totally interconnected with, then why do we have to do all this healthy stuff? Like, why do we have to eat healthy and this and that? And I think it comes down to the fact that as we make the healthy choices, as we eat the healthy food, as we get the sleep, as we move our bodies, we are creating the form of the body, the structure of the body that I think has an easier time connecting with source. And
resonates,
if we are essentially channeling that source energy,
that was his contractually obligated. That resonates with me. Response.
Duality is
not duality.
The root of the suffering. Duality is that we were part of the spirit world and we came into this body.
Whenever I want to sound smart, I start slinging around duality. It's truly a duality of life, of living and of breathing, of breath and exhale, and inhale and I don't know. I guess that's a singularity.
And we forgot that we are part of that. We forgot that we are pure love. We forgot that
yourself.
We are a piece of God. If the forgetting is from that duality when we were born, and the purpose of getting back.
If forgetting that you're from God or source or whatever, or a part of a larger picture is eliminated because you took an Advil, then I don't know what type of universe you're a part of.
To essentially bliss is remembering. I personally think it is easier to remember when we have a body that is really functioning properly. And so my spiritual journey is rooted in the choices every day that build this radio tower. I am the radio tower, the sensor to try to connect with that. And when I'm doing the healthy...
Frozen. Let it go, let it go. Casey Means is frozen. I didn't delete my trash, you guys. I've been recording too many James Vanderbeek takes.
Habits and the biohacks and the protocols and all this stuff, like whatever you want to call it, it's actually in service of building a structure that can channel that in the most open and clear way.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's just my perspective. And I think that, but I think it's just really realizing that it's bigger than just these like the books and the hacks and the optimization and the micro things. And,
again, why do you want to be Surgeon General then? If you are like a spiritual person, why do you need to involve yourself in this government department head position where that should not be a part of it. Like separation of church and state, separation of medicine and your beliefs about God. Like that seems like the bare minimum.
How much zone 2 training to do every day and all these things. Like if we root this journey in a bigger picture of basically striving for this bliss, I think that it can really help motivate us. And then remembering that Taoist principle that we're a process, not an entity. This is why we actually have to do the health behaviors every day, because every day we're rebuilding that radio tower that can connect with source. Every day we're building that sensor. And so you want to keep doing the habits with good food and good sleep. And
so is she saying that you can't connect to God if you're not optimally healthy? If you're not 100% healthy, then you don't get to have a divine spiritual connection to the earth or to whatever, to source energy? That seems extremely unfair. It sounds extremely like if you were born with a genetic condition and you can't ever perfect your radio tower enough to talk to God, that seems like inherently opposite of what spirituality in a perfect world or religion or anything that is a higher being is meant to do for you.
Movement and reducing the toxic stress and the toxins in the environment, because you're rebuilding that half of the duality, the body, every single day. And
half of the duality is
when that structure gets hurt and dysfunctional, we get the depression and we get the anxiety and we get the fear and we get the diseases, and it ends up being distracting, from this. So that's something that really motivates me when it comes to, and that alleviates a lot of the fear for me. But I think we just all need to understand that when we are emotionally sensing fear in the body from any source, from the news, from our childhood trauma, from the email we got, whatever the fear is, anytime we're experiencing emotional fear, it's translated biochemically into the body through hormones, neurotransmitters, that fundamentally the body has to respond to. The body is going to respond to that fear, even if it's emotional, and that will divert our resources towards defense rather than thriving.
What?
So each of us needs to take honest stock of what emotionally, psychologically is causing fear.
Apparently she has a blog, by the way.
In our lives, and work to set the boundaries to limit it, whether it's our fear of death, our fear of some inner wound that happened in childhood, intergenerational wounds, whether it's your relationship with your coworkers, whether it's the news that you're watching of wars thousands of miles away. And you must.
She has said that a few times. To me, what that signals is don't pay attention to foreign affairs. Whatever we're doing.
All this from Instagram University.
Yeah. Whatever we're doing in other countries is none of our business. And if you focus on it, you're going to die from dementia. That's what I'm hearing her say. She's trying to, prepare us to not worry about the wars that are miles away. Angela Arnold says, I learned all of this from Instagram University. Yeah. Instagram U. IU. IOU? No, IU. Taught by Zuckerberg himself.
Breast.
I'm dry.
Pores. Am I attracted to men or women?
Good questions to contemplate at night. Okay, we're gonna go to our blog very shortly. Can you believe we still have 10 minutes? Wrap it up. I thought this was like the final crescendo here.
Work to limit it, because the more fear that your body's experiencing, the more you're diverting resources away from thriving. In the book, I talk about the true biochemistry of this and how actually fear and loneliness directly in scientific studies leads to all three hallmarks of bad energy: oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, and mitochondrial dysfunction. So that's our job as humans.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. We might have to jump into this early. She's apparently writing poetry on this blog. The Devil's Wellness Plan, a poem by Casey Means, MD, with some rhyming help from AI. We need clean water. However, we're going to use it to funnel my AI poetry. Oh, God. But before we get to this is a nice twist. Bethel. Thank you so much. Bethel, 845. Bethel says, it's all just sparkling eugenics, yes, and a class war. And healthy people are better people. Rich people are better people. If you're healthy, you will be rich. Being healthy means you're rich, and those are the only people that deserve to live.
Oh shit, there's shit on the pillow!
I do number 2. They're going to be dropping some really powerful, amazing, life-changing shiz.
And we never got to it yesterday, but Kathy Heller and this woman are good friends, apparently.
You're not freaking fine.
She's another one that's like out of her mind. Okay. Thank you, Bethel. All right, let's read some of this poetry. That's AI. It does say it's April Fool's Day, so keep that in mind, okay? This week, I'm sharing something a little different, a poem. I've loved writing poetry for 20 years. While this one might read like satire fitting for April Fool's Day, sadly, it's not a joke. It's uncomfortably close to reality. The goal is to grapple with some of the harsh realities of the modern world while offering hope that by becoming more aware, we can begin to move towards something better. Take a read and let me know, what did I miss? Enjoy, and always, thank you for being here. Okay, the Devil's Wellness Plan. Here we go. If I were the devil, I'd ditch the disguise. No pitchfork, no flames, just marketing lies. I'd feed you poison, call it a snack, and label you elitist when you want your health back. Oh yeah, she's not an elitist, for sure. She went to a boarding school and Stanford and has never had to work really in her life, but she's not an elitist. I'd bury research, seal the locks, then line you up for 73 shots. Okay, you know what that means, right? There's a wink, wink, nod, nod. She's anti-VAX, okay? I'd cancel critical thinking, stop dissenters with bots. Okay, the irony is that she wrote this poem with AI, okay? So she's stopping dissenters with bots, says the AI that's writing this. Then jab your kids without a second thought. Okay, the fact that she's saying jab as another dead ringer for, okay, what she believes in that she won't say. I'd shame the sunlight and worship shade. She hates sunglasses, I told you that. And block the rays the holy sun made. Okay, she really hates sunglasses. Then sell you D in plastic packs that she benefits from and profits from, supplements, to fill the hole from all you lack. I'd flood your nights with dopamine. She's an influencer who uses Instagram and social media to promote and run her business. From endless scrolls on little blue screens. I'd wreck your sleep and sell it back. Sweet dreams with Lunesta and 100 sleep hacks. Okay, sounds like exactly what you do, actually. I'd break your trust in ancient ways, not sure what that means, and mock the moon and cycle's phase. Okay, I don't know what you're saying there, but all right. I'd push the pill and dull woman's flame. Okay, that's the birth control pill. She doesn't think women should be on it. Okay, track your cycle, get pregnant, that's what she wants for you. Have really heavy periods. That's what she wants for you because it's a sign from God. Till womanhood forgot its name. Okay, drama. I'd give boys man boobs through toxic food. We should have just read this. We would have found out everything we need to know about this lady. I'd give boys man boobs through toxic food and call masculine strength aggressive and lewd. I don't think she's married. She's single. She's wanting to be picked. I'd whisper, you're too much, too loud, and shame men's fire as something rude. Okay, men's fire. Okay, that's a choice. I'd flood your screens with porn on demand till touch means pixels, not holding a hand. Again, I think she's single. I'd teach women that cooking is something to dread, that birth needs control and a hospital bed. I'm getting conflicting ideas in that one. I think she's trying to say, again, she hates birth control. She also hates you going to the hospital to give birth. Really strong messaging here. Love it. And I don't know who said cooking is bad, but she wants to make you believe that doctors don't want you to cook. I destroy the village, sell you smartphones, and push reels that make mothers feel they're completely alone. Again, she is running an Instagram account and business. I'd call the sacred just a trend and glorify materialism without any end. Okay, then sell your home. I'm sure you have multiple millions of dollars of property. From kids to elders, I'd fry their brains. Depression, pain, and dementia, their chains. How can you fix things when you can't think straight? But don't worry, Big Pharma will medicate. Okay, she's very clear here. The AI gets her, for sure. She spends a lot of time talking to ChatGPT about her thoughts, and it's outputted this. I'd put processed poison in the school lunch. Let taxpayers pay while the children get sunk. You could have rhymed a little better with that one. I'm sorry. It's giving. You're giving up. You don't think anyone's reading this far. We'd say that cereal was breakfast of choice, packed with sugar and dyes to zap our life force. Okay, this one. It don't rhyme the right way. I think maybe she started to lose her mitochondria at this point. Okay, let's get back on track here. I'd fill the oceans with microplastics and trash and poison rivers with pesticides and coal ash. I'd make you think that composting was hard. Excuse you? Oh my God. These people are so dramatic. And that you need Roundup to murder every weed in your yard. I'd fill the air with infertility chemicals galore, Glade plugins and Lysol as acceptable norms. What's the infertility chemicals? Is that chemtrails? Is that what she's trying to say? Okay, so she's a chemtrail girl? Great. Casey Chemtrail. That was her name in boarding school. If I were the devil, I'd play it smart. No need for chains. I'll just clog your heart. Keep you comfy, fed, and blind. Too tired to seek, too numb to find. If I were the devil, I'd tax you to no end. Okay, here it comes. Too broke to rise, too exhausted to defend. No need for war or guns or screams. Just sugar screams. Sorry. Let me start over. No need for war or guns or screams, just sugar, screens, and broken dreams. Okay, workshop that one. If I were the devil, I'd never show. I'd simply coax yes from your mouth when your heart screams no. No need for fire, just silent control. I'd promote self-abandonment that fractures your whole. I'd convince your species it's small and weak, too scared of your power, too scared to speak. I'd help you forget you are a soul and pure light, a miracle of God, trading enlightenment for likes. Okay, is this a self-own? I'd make you forget you're one with all things, an eternal note in the symphony the universe sings. Okay, I've lost reading capabilities. I hope you'll stay distracted by my noise and my spin. Never suspect I'm the one who is weakest within. For if you believed the limitless love that you are, you'd rise from my grip and entertain me no more. No fight, no fire, just your peace and your breath, and I'd melt in a flash, disarmed by your depth. So, with the Devil's Wellness Plan, what did I miss there? Pretty eerily accurate, huh? For the record, I don't believe in a literal devil, but I do wonder whether humanity is being tested right now by God, by the universe. Okay, so it sounds like symbolically you do believe in it. If we are, I think that this test is about whether we as a species are willing to show that we want humanity to persist, or whether we are going to succumb to our lower impulses and destroy ourselves. We are in a moment of history where our knowledge and technological capabilities give us the power to destroy the planet instantly. Isn't the guy who's running like the AI, OpenAI, doesn't he in an interview, is that the same guy who they asked him, do you think humanity should survive? And he was like, That's a tough question there, boss. I don't know. I don't think so. And she's using AI. So, again, these people just want to blow smoke up their ass and they want applause for it. It's just so annoying. I'm so over it. Okay. We're in a moment of history where our knowledge and technological capabilities give us the power to destroy the planet instantly, i.e., nuclear war, but we also have the knowledge and technological capabilities to heal it and create a sustainable future. This is the sustainable future. You're using AI. Okay. This is the fascinating, incredible moment we've been lucky to be born into. We've been given the ultimate gift, existence, but our actions as a global community suggest we are choosing to squander it for profit, convenience, thoughtlessness, power, or efficiency, unsustainably extracting from the earth and destroying its biodiversity, which will obviously come back around to hurt us. Again, you're using AI for your poetry, so you are part of the problem. My hope is that we wake up and choose to show how deeply we value life, the earth, and the opportunity to continue this human experiment, aka to pass the test. Behaviorally, modern humans have been here for a very short time, and there's no guarantee we get to continue. If Earth's history were a 24-hour clock, behaviorally modern humans would appear in the last few seconds before midnight. We're tiny, and yet quantum science reminds us. You don't know quantum science. Okay, for real. We matter a lot. Our choices ripple out. Entanglement is real. Even our thoughts affect the whole. Okay, says you. I invite you to pray, meditate, or simply reflect for the strength to envision a positive path forward for your own life, for the planet, and for our species, that we may rise our collective awareness and move toward deeper connection with ourselves, with each other, and with the greater mystery we're all a part of. We can't create what we can't imagine, but we often limit our ability to even imagine because we forget our own miraculousness. Okay, wordy as hell. So I invite you to pause, reflect, pray, or meditate, and envision a more sustainable and bright path forward. I'm not going to do anything to help, but you envision it and just believe that it will happen, and hopefully we'll just get lucky. One rooted in love for life, for Earth, and for one another. The choice is ours. Okay, that's crazy. She's a little feisty, crazy girl. Okay, well, that was her poetry. Here's her mouth wide open, ready for us to dive on in and finish this up.
Our job is to overcome the fear. We want to have healthy fear. We don't want to walk across the street without looking. We want to have healthy, acute fear. We do not want to have chronic fear. And the world we're living in wants us to be afraid, profits off of us being afraid, because afraid people
including yourself
are going to hide. They're going to be quiet. They're going to look for salvation outside of themselves in industry. And they are certainly going to buy any product that they think is going to alleviate that fear. So it's our
including your own business and his business too.
Job to take stock of that and do the work to create a sense of safety for all those cells inside our body.
Casey, thank you so much. It's been such a joy talking to you today. And I hope that everyone who's been listening grabs a copy of Good Energy, The Surprising Connection Between Metabolism.
Every book looks like this now, by the way. Every book that's at an airport has this exact cover and the same words on it.
And Limitless Health. I want you all to have a happier, healthier, more healed life. And this book will unlock that fearlessness, which I think is such a core yet unique aspect of what we're all missing.
Such a core yet unique aspect of all of us. Fear.
I hope that this is an episode that you'll revisit. I hope it's an episode you'll share.
Hell the fuck no.
With friends and family. Maybe you'll listen to it together again and deduce which insights. I'm moving away from this episode feeling extremely inspired to recommit to my health journey. There are so many things I'm thinking about over the last couple of weeks that maybe I haven't been as mindful with. Maybe I have made mistakes on and want to reconnect with. And
Jay said he made a mistake? Never. He would never admit that.
Casey, we end every episode of On Purpose with a final five or a fast five.
Oh my God,
these ones have to be answered in one word to one sentence maximum.
Okay.
Casey, here's your final five. What is the best advice you've ever received or heard?
What do we think? Mitochondria.
What I think of when I think of...
One word, bitch. Sorry. She didn't finish school, so she didn't know that one word is one word.
Best advice is actually... It was the motto of my high school, which was an all-girls school. And the advice or the mantra was every girl has something to say.
Is this not 1,000 words?
And I would like to broaden that to every person has something to say. I think that we're living in a...
Can you listen to the rules of the game? Of the one... you listen to his podcast all the time, right? One word. This is now a soliloquy monologue.
World, again, rooted in fear.
What are you even saying?
Where
now we're talking about her boarding school days.
People are self-censoring themselves and stopping themselves from expressing what is deep inside their heart because they are afraid of the repercussions of rejection, of being canceled, of being...
Yeah, she hides around her true feelings about vaccines, about birth control. On this Congress meeting, she's lying through her teeth at her true beliefs because she's afraid that she won't get in there and then won't be able to dismantle positive things for the world.
Having mean comments online. And fundamentally, this self-censorship that I'm seeing really rampant.
Word count now 2,000.
And it's rooted in a scarcity mindset. And it is representative of a block of flow of energy and inspiration through us.
She don't know how to count.
And I think that in many ways, it's blocks of energy flowing through us that is fundamentally the root of so much of the health issues that we're facing today.
I think she took her Adderall right before this. She's on it. She's high dosed.
Literally, metabolic dysfunction is the block of that sun energy flowing through our cells to create human energy. And so anything we can do to keep the flow open through the healthy, good energy habits to improve metabolic health, through speaking authentically in what's our hearts, whether it's in a journal or to your loved ones, or doing things to just move flow through our body, our blood, dance, move, shake, do whatever you need to do to get things moving.
Move, shake.
But I think that mantra, every girl, every person has something to say, feels really resonant now, where I see a lot of people hiding the truth in their hearts because they're afraid of the repercussions because of the public digital world that we live in.
Got it.
Well said. Second question, what is the
he said, no, okay, never mind. This is not going to work.
worst advice you ever heard or received?
Vaccine.
The worst advice I've ever heard is all...
You know what she's doing this for? She's doing this for the social media videos that she claims that are ruining the world. She knows that this is how clips are cut out of podcasts. So she's going, the worst advice I've ever heard. Cue the really dramatic music. And now we're going to see images of a stock video of a farm. And then we're going to see a woman crying. Like, she knows that that's especially how he does it. She's trying to set herself up to get a lot of videos out on her.
All good things in moderation. I think that this phrase that has become so ubiquitous is actually representative of a real leak in principles. There are things that we do not want in moderation, in our bodies, in our temple, especially in our children's bodies. Refined sugar, pesticide-covered, ultra-refined
Wrap
grains.
it up.
The 80,000 synthetic toxins that are in our food, water, and air that might be in products that we think are good, all good things in moderation. I think we need an intense reinvigoration of courage, of people saying what's right and what's wrong. We're afraid to say what's wrong right now, while literally around us, Rome is burning. Our population is getting increasingly sick at every age. And as adults, we need to have the moral clarity to say, don't eat this. Don't put this in your body. It's not good for you. And people are becoming afraid of that. And so I think all good things in moderation.
I get literally screamed at every turn of people telling me not to eat this, not to do this, do this, do this, don't do this. I think we have enough of that, honestly.
Is representative of lack of clarity that is hurting us.
Question 3. What's the first thing you do in the morning and last thing you do at night?
I poopy in the toilet, and then also I poopy in the toilet.
Well, to be totally honest, the first thing I do in the morning and at the end of the day, every single day, is I roll over and I tell my partner how much I love him.
Oh, I love that.
Every single day. I'm just being totally...
Oh, I thought she was single.
Totally honest.
Who's her husband or her
and I think
that's beautiful.
I think starting every day with love fundamentally, gets me tied into what I think our true nature as humans are as part of this incredible universe, which I think the core frequency of the universe is love. And so I think anything we can do to start our days with love, whether you have a partner or not, a pet or not, it's expressing love in some way, whether it's to a person, gratitude.
There's a poem about this.
For this beautiful life that we have, something that expresses the vibration of love, which I think fundamentally is the vibration that keeps us as healthy as possible.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Question number 4. What's a lesson you wished you learned earlier?
Mitochondria cells.
Lesson that I wish I'd learned earlier is to make decisions with my body instead of with my brain.
That's great.
In the Western culture, we are so focused on thinking our way to decisions.
And when you don't have a brain to speak of, that's your only option, is to not use it.
And I think my life has transformed when I have more felt my way to decisions. I think the body has such intense, innate wisdom and intuition and connection with all of source. But we need to slow down from the distraction industrial complex of our world to be able to hear it. And once I've tuned in to what my body is telling me every day through that upset stomach, that little sense of what's right and wrong, everything has become easier.
It's fantastic. 5th and final question. If you could create one law that everyone in the world had to follow, what would it be?
Kiss my ass and make me queen.
I think the law that would help bring to fruition the world that I really want to see is to create widespread economic incentives to return to a more natural form of agriculture and farming. So eliminating the pesticides and creating an incentive structure for farmers that allows them to cultivate the earth, our mother, the soil that we come from, in a way that is respectful and really respects the complexity of the ecosystem.
I feel like she's never been to a farm before.
Which humans live, which soil, which all the microbes in the soil live. We've decimated our soil. We've killed soil. Soil is a life-giving and living organism that is now dead because of the ways that we have managed the earth since World War II with industrial agriculture, with mechanized tilling, with synthetic pesticides and synthetic fertilizers. And because we've killed the soil, we're actually killing ourselves. And I think that gets to like the broader point, which is I think maybe the key point I would want to leave the listeners with, which is that it's that connection that really is what's going to heal all of us. Like, we are living in a system that promotes silos. And that's not working because we actually are in not only an interdependent living system between soil, plants, animals, and humans, but we're in an interdependent cosmos. And so as we move and create, hopefully, laws like this that move us from silos to connection, I think we are going to get so much healthier. We need to realize and really internalize the connection between most all of the symptoms and conditions we're facing today and their fundamental connected rooting in metabolic dysfunction. We need to realize the totally interdependent connection between soil, humans, air.
All I can keep thinking of is this lady does not know how to follow directions and therefore should not be serving in office.
Water, and light. And the foundation of planetary healing is not going to be carbon capture. It's going to be respecting the interdependent relationships between all things on the earth. Third, we need to realize the connection between humans in loving in-person relationships, and that is a foundation of the safety our cells need to be as healthy as possible. And I think lastly, I would just
forced marriages is what she wants, I think.
Say we need to understand that connection between life and death and an internal process that we are a part of and that is nothing to fear. So fundamentally,
she also supports masculine fires in men. So men who are angry and violent, she wants women to be forced to pair up with them. That's what I'm reading between the lines there about.
Laws that promote the idea of connection, reduce the siloing that's hurting us, and ultimately help us thrive from within.
Beautiful. Casey, thank you so much for joining me on Purpose today.
Okay, thank God it's over. We did it, Joe. Okay. Before we forget about Casey Means forever, I just wanted to talk to you about her partner because I didn't realize she had a partner. 9 steps I took to find love at age 35. There is hope for this old hag. Oh, thank God. Okay. And she also went on Joe Rogan. Now I need to know what her tips are for dating, okay? Building good energy into my life plan and how I made space to find love at 35. Living a healthy life with good energy is not just about eating good food and sustaining physical strength. It's also a mental and spiritual struggle and requires deep reflection, serious planning, and courage. This is not a modern challenge, but the pace of change today and our interconnectedness, which ironically can lead to feelings of disconnectedness, require us to adjust our life plans and strategies to live a full and happy life. Americans seem to be much less happy and are increasingly turning to dopamine hits and pessimism as the answer. These are not the answer. Okay. Okay, she's talking about her mom again. At age 33, just 6 weeks after I lost my mom abruptly to stage 4 pancreatic cancer, I went on a first date with a guy in New York City. After we had a nice dinner in the West Village, I went home to my apartment only to find myself devolving into a spiral of clinginess, finding myself anxious when there was more than an hour between texts, daydreaming about the future, examining every word of his messages for clues on how he felt, and sending screenshots to my friends for advice. I was picking apart his social media posts from the prior 3 years for clues about his past romances. I knew I was acting crazy, but couldn't stop myself or change the way I felt. I'd become just the kind of dopamine fiend that our social network designers had planned for. My anxious energy drove him away quickly, and it took me a week to recover from the sting of this rejection. Yeah, that was the reason why he was turned off. It wasn't like, the mitochondria needs to be energized conversation at dinner. Witnessing myself acting this way was extremely unpleasant for me, and I'm sure it was equally unpleasant for him. It was not the energy I wanted to project onto a man or into the world, and I knew that insecurity and anxiety would never be fertile ground for finding the love I wanted. Secure, blissful, positive, strong. I knew on some level this behavior had something to do with my mother's death and my emotionally raw state. Yeah, which a couple months later, it sounds about right. But I also didn't quite know how to prevent this from happening again. In desperation, I immediately called up a therapist I knew through a good friend, and I leveled with her. Hey there, my name is Casey. I acted insane after a date last week, and I never want to act this way again. Can you help? She said yes. Well, I'm glad she went to a therapist. Hey, credit where credit's due. She said yes, and we started working together. I thought we would discuss the dating issue in a couple sessions. She'd give me some coaching tactics. I'd execute them, and my dating life would get back on track. What I didn't expect was that this first call would lead to a 2-year journey of therapy, spiritual inquiry, plant medicine. Okay, so maybe it wasn't a therapist? Plant medicine and exploration of my femininity, which would enable me to turn over every possible stone of my life from birth until present and work to structure a new relationship with each trigger and maladaptive pattern in my life. I would learn about inner child work, attachment styles, boundary setting, the divine feminine, okay, quantum neuro reset therapy. What the hell is that? Non-violent communication and much more. Was she being violent previously? Okay, I'll have to spend some time. It has quantum in the name, so I'm assuming it's bullshit. I would hit rock bottom in this process, going as far as shattering a glass coffee table in my living room as repressed anger surfaced and I moved through it. Okay, she's 38, so this was only 3 years ago when she was breaking coffee tables. But as the months and ultimately years went on, I would ultimately evolve my identity and transform into the woman who could give and receive in the loving partnership I dreamed of. I would deconstruct my identity as a feminist. Oh, great. Great. She's like, I don't mess with y'all anymore. I need a man. I would deconstruct my identity as a feminist and move towards embodying a completely different and greater power, the divine feminine. Ugh. I would go from being angry at men, the patriarchy, and wanting equality in a relationship. Oh yeah, thank God you gave up those dreams. We've gone so far down. She didn't want equality anymore. To being committed to working as a dynamic team with a powerful man to build a beautiful life and create harmony by embodying different roles. I would go from believing menstrual periods, pregnancy, and childbirth were disadvantages and impediments for women in modern society. Okay, it is. It is. To honoring the divine power within me as a woman to create life and the unique cyclical rhythm of my female body. Cyclical. I know it's a cycle, but how do you say that word? I don't know. In tune with the moon, the seasons, and the tides. I don't know about that. I don't know if there's moon menstrual stuff. Some people say yes. I don't think so. They also say moon has to do with parasites. And I'm like, I think the moon is doing its own thing. I would go from glorifying workaholism to finding guilt-free satisfaction and devoting meaningful time to cultivating my personal life and nurturing a calm nervous system. I went from obsessively thinking through every decision in my life to letting the awareness of my heart and intuition also guide me. I went from using my mom's unconditional love as an emotional crutch, to giving that unconditional love to myself and my psychological wounds, allowing those parts of me to finally settle down and not mercilessly control my behavior. I went from feeling prideful in my commitment to rationality. I wish you would go back to that, please. To learning to humbly surrender to the mystery and magic of life. I learned that there is magic in the world, but if you don't believe in magic, you'll never find it or see it. Okay. I went from believing there are no good men left out there to realizing that I just needed to settle and pick one. No, she didn't say that. To realizing that I had not been ready for or prioritizing partnership. Simply put, I got spit out on the other end as a woman. I enjoyed being a lot more free, more feminine, more spiritual, more happy, sure, more calm, less angry, less triggered. And then my dream man walked into my life like the most natural and predictable and magical thing in the world. We are now engaged. So with that backstory, here's some practical reflections on how this came about for me between 2022 and 2024, which hopefully might help you. So she had a personality and some, smarts. And then she just decided, I'm never going to find a man if I am smart. And so I need to give up all my rational thought and just be feminine and girly. Okay, I don't care. So I'm not going to read all this, but number 1, believe in a beautiful vision for your future. 2, consider therapy or coaching to get to the root of why you're not prioritizing love. Why aren't you prioritizing love? Read books about relationships that align with your values. The 4 agreements. Getting the love you want. I don't know. Men are from Mars. Women are from Venus. Okay. Nonviolent communication. 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. Yeah. He really knows. Attached. Existential kink. Maybe it's you. Oh my God. I have this book. I have this book in my used book bin in my closet. Listen for clear signals from the universe, then act on them. Okay, I'll just read this one because there's text messages. While I was visiting Topanga, California from my home at the time in Bend, Oregon on October 29th, 2022, I couldn't sleep all night. Oh my God, her metabolism's ruined. Her mitochondria is screaming because she didn't sleep once in 2022. I was restless. I had a strong impulse to get up and take a hike at sunrise, so I did. As the sun rose over the horizon, I had what I can only call an epiphany. The universe telling me, you must move to LA. This is where your partner is. This is the text I sent to my 2 best friends at 7:35 a.m. that morning. You guys, I just did a sunrise hike. I had divine clarity as the sun was rising. You cray. I like her. Tell us everything. Okay, I started tearing up at the sunrise. The universe was like, move. I could see us in the LA or Bay Area much easily than in Oregon, so that is exciting for me. So we don't hate this idea? Nope. I just did a sunrise hike. Fucking incredible. No, we don't hate. Okay, so woman goes to LA, sees how beautiful it is, how cool it is there, and wants to move. Wow, she's really divine. I felt the same thing. I'm like, I need to move to LA. And then I didn't. One day, perhaps. So then she decides to move. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Write it all down. Okay. Stop the distractions. Allow people to help. Embrace the woo-woo. Of course she thinks that. There are so many out there things I did to try to tap into the mystical side of evolving my consciousness and ultimately being ready for partnership. Here are a few. These are not necessarily recommendations, but they are part of my journey. Set up a small meditation shrine in my house and prayed to photos of my ancestors, asking for support. Oh my God. Please, Lord, never let me be this single. Let me be okay with being single, that I'm now praying to my ancestors to find a boyfriend. We do this to ourselves. Okay. She prayed to her photos of her ancestors, asking for support on my personal journey, and wrote mantras and manifestations on small pieces of paper and tucked them around the shrine. She went to weekly group meditations and spiritual lectures at Self-Realization Fellowship. Okay, I'm going to look that up later. I worked with a spiritual medium who helped me to connect with my spirit guides for support and guidance. I did full moon ceremonies with grounded, powerful women where we called in abundance and let go of what wasn't serving us. She loved the book Lunar Abundance. I hiked alone and talked literally out loud to the trees, letting them know I was ready for partnership and asking them if they could help. What the hell is a tree going to do for you? I told the trees I needed a boyfriend. I made wishes on heads-up pennies. I made wishes when the clock struck 11, and I made wishes on the first stars I saw in the night sky. Oh, God. I pursued visualization techniques like the Silva method that helped me see my visions for the future. I did plant medicine experiences with trusted guides and wrote extensively about my experiences. I read a lot of poetry about love. Okay, we're still not done. Get extremely tactical. In the summer of 2023, once I moved to LA, I decided to get focused and organized to create that plane upon which partnership could land. Here's what I did. She wrote out a list of desired qualities. Okay, I've done that. I read that once recently. She wrote a document of outlining how I was going to make finding partnership my number one priority of the summer of 2023. The priority above work, above conferences, above catching up hikes with girlfriends. So you hate your friends. I need to find a man so bad I'm going to ditch all my friends. She was going to set up her house so she could entertain and host dinner parties and events. Okay. She made the commitment not to travel all summer. She made a spreadsheet of all the friends I knew in LA and made an effort to reach out to many of them to set up time to connect when I moved to LA. If I wanted a community in the new city, I had to make an effort. I mean, okay, but is this just to find a guy? Okay. Social activities. She joined Bumble, Hinge, Paid. She went on 1 date per week. If she didn't find success by September, she was going to invest in hiring a boutique matchmaking service or get a dating coach. I committed to temporarily decline social events that are just about connecting with girlfriends. Again, you're not a girl's girl. You're a pick-me. I sharpened my personal style. She wore a lot of Farm Rio. What does this look like? Oh, yeah, this is going to land you a boyfriend for sure. This is what men want. Copacabana. Robes, shirts. Okay, I don't know. I'm no fashionista. Okay, what is this? The Fellowship Sylvia method. Okay, more AI. You could go from email woman to woman of God. Okay, there you go. Oh, well, she's a thirsty one. She wants a boyfriend. She found a fiance. She just prioritized it and cut off all her friends and family in order to get it and changed her entire personality. I mean, who hasn't been there, right? Oh boy. Okay. Well, did you hear that Jim Carrey is a clone now? In other news, did you hear Jim Carrey's not himself anymore? That's what we'll end on. It's very short. Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey has now blue eyes and has a different face. Okay, here's what Jim Carrey used to look like, right? He's also very woo-woo spirituality. I don't know how I feel about him sometimes. Sometimes I love all his work. I love Truman Show is one of my favorite movies of all time. Liar Liar is also one of my favorite comedies of all time. The Grinch, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. So I Dumb and Dumber, love it. I even love the unaffiliated sequel, Dumb and Dumber. Not the one that he was in, the other one. If you know, you know. I'm even using that phrase that I hate. Okay, here's what he looked like before. Okay, I'm not showing you anything. Here's what he looked like before, previously. That's the Jim Carrey we've heard of before, right? But this is what he looks like now. Well, hold on. This is what he looks like now.
Took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French. So, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's...
Everyone online is convinced that Hollywood has gotten to Jim Carrey because who is this? This is not Jim Carrey, is it?
He's got the cheeks. He's got defined cheeks. Am I right?
Jim is in Paris because they had the Caesar Awards and he gave a speech there. He was also honored. And typically Jim Carrey doesn't like these Hollywood kind of things. So people were confused as to why he was so happy to be there.
I don't care.
But Jim, you got really dressed up for the occasion. You look good.
No, I
Is that an accident?
I didn't get dressed up.
Who did?
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream.
It's just things happening.
That's the Jim Carrey that I remember, but people are picking apart his red carpet and his speech from last night. Some people are pointing out that his eyes look very different. They've got a point, actually, looking at these photos of Jim Carrey.
I mean, that is pretty different. He must have gotten the eye color surgery. He saw his Instagram feed was showing him the people who are going into the surgery and they like have the bluest eyes, the most unnatural eye color you've ever seen. So maybe he got that done.
From the past, he's got these brown eyes, but
he got the upper bleph done at the same time.
Last night, whoever that was had kind of like blue-green eyes. I think that Jim Carrey's really gone. Not really. Maybe he's kind of like lost himself to Hollywood because the plastic surgery is getting a little out of hand, but the internet's convinced that he's been replaced by a clone. What do you think?
I think he's gotten some plastic surgery or something. Filler, maybe? I don't know. Why did his eyes color change? I don't know. Do I think it's a clone? No. I'm surprised though. As someone, I always saw him as a non-materialistic kind of guy, but then maybe that's just my own bias that I like his movies, so I don't want him to be like that. It's how I also felt about Russell Brand for many years. Embarrassing, I know. I was like, no, well, yeah, he's like a rich celebrity, but he doesn't believe in that. Dumb. Anyways, okay. Well, I'm gonna post the Vanderbeek story video tomorrow, tomorrow I think. I gotta make a thumbnail, but I'm gonna post that tomorrow. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching this, and I hope this Casey Means does not become Surgeon General, but of course she will. And then we'll just have to monitor, like the glucose that she can sell us. All right, time to sing my song. If you would like to get your name sung in this song that I sing at the end of the streams, become a member, baby. Become a member, a gold straight up member. Also, join us on Reddit. It's open. It's open. You can come and say your piece. You can come to the Reddit and type. And I'm also keeping a library, so I've got one on there now of, of sound bites, where the sound bites that you know and love have come from. Because a lot of people ask about that. Like, where does this one originate from? We're going to have a running library in the Reddit. It's Kia's World Reddit. You'll find it if you search it. That's it. And thank you, Poetic Tranquility. Welcome to the membership.
Take off your glasses and go drive a vehicle.
That's for you.
You look like a Lord of the Rings elf.
That's also for you. All right. Peace. Going back to rap. And that's a fact. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. Oh, I got light worker sound bites for you, baby. Starry Nights, EXE. Can you give me $1 and I'll pay you back free? Not free. I said free. Free. Rabba Gabor. You know about that. You like free 99 when you go to the store. Olive Harper. Don't be a martyr. Don't just accept things that you cannot see. What does that mean? Don't ask me. Nicole Campbell knows. She likes the candles from Lowe's. This candle smells like sawdust. Rebelette Fuentes says, I like Musk. Elon, that is. Ew. Maya Sloan she doesn't agree. She says, I like Peter Thiel specifically. Also gross. A Consul, what do you know about mitochondria? Do you think it's the powerhouse of the cell? Or do you think it is your child? Elif Madison, were you a big body baby? Or were you not? Were you a petite little baby? Kim Possible 11. I wanna go to heaven, the celestial kingdom, where all our food comes from. Thanks Starry Nights EXE for the $1. It's really fancy. I really appreciate. Alaska Blue Tundra. How do you get the sun in your eyes if it's dark 24 hours a day? You must be withering away. I bet your mitochondria really want some more light. You better move somewhere down south. Time to replay this song. Merva Bell 2. Your time is on. In 3, 2, 1. Merv Bell 2. You. Goo 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 gaga. I'm a big body baby. I like gravy on my turkey. A Bone Palace Ballet 94. I opened the door, but there is no door. Medical medium said that once.
No one's knocking on their door telling them to stop because there is no door.
Can you believe that? There was no door. Carrey Soto. Did you know though? There is no door in the medical medium world. There's just celery and lies. Hannah, you were aware, I'm sure. But could you swear to it on your life that celery juice isn't gross? It actually tastes okay, but I don't think it will take your Hashimoto's away. Amy LX8RN, how have you been? How's it going, girl? How's it going? In Big Bend, that's where Casey's from. She likes that Big Bend. And she went to England once and liked Big Ben. Lillian Massey. I wanna take you on a mass hysteria trip where we all just pretend something's happening when it's not. That sounds like so much fun. Shan, 1989. I think you are divine, but I also think you should still consult a doctor when you have a cold or a flu or a mold. You can have both. Did you know it? HRD Mayo. Are you from Ohio? Love is blind there, and they love Pilates. And they love doing it daily, I heard, from a TV show. Shannon. Do you love Steve Bannon? I hope not, cause he's a creep and a weirdo and a freak. And a geek. And he tweaks. Out. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.